Welcome, So-La-Rah here. How are you guys doing? How are you all faring in the aftermath of these eclipse energies? My apologies for being away for a minute. I had no intention of not recording, but it's been interesting. A lot of random things have been occurring to keep me from being able to come and do a long form video. And indeed, this is part of what the energies are about that we're going to talk about tonight. So before I begin, I want to welcome you all to my channel. Welcome if you've been with me from the beginning, if you've been with me for a minute. Thank you for your love and your support. Thank you for all the opportunities that you grant me to share and expand my own light and value with the collective. If you're new here, welcome. If this is your first time, please do stick around and see if there's anything in the message or the downloads that resonate with your own soul. And feel free to do the YouTube thing if if you are vibing with the messages that Spirit has sent me to share with the collective. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. If you're new here, say hi. And yes. A few announcements before I get into this. I'm going to do probably downloads and pull some cards tonight. I have been hard at work while I've been away. I did put together a manual, a sacred bathing manual specifically for cleansing and clearing. And in that manual, I go into the power of water as an element for bathing, sacred bathing, why we utilize the power of sacred bathing. I go into the power of herbs and plants. I go into household herbs that you can use, as well as, more obscure or medicinal herbs, as well as a breakdown of different salts and their properties and what else. It's quite comprehensive in a small file, not small, but it's not a whole book, but it's like, I think 23 pages at this point, because the Virgo in me keeps going back and adding more, but I think I'm done now. So it's ready. The Sacred Bathing Manual Part 1, focusing on cleansing and clearing, is available now. I also have taken the time to record an audiobook. So there's a private link on YouTube. So for those of you who don't like to read, but want to hear the information, or for those of you who want to have a combination of both, the audiobook is not ready right now. It will be ready in a few days, but the actual manual is ready. So I will put information up on the community board if you're interested, or you can email me. The information is below if you are interested in a copy. I wanted to be able to offer, it's always my desire to offer you guys practical guidance, things that you can actually do to get yourself out of your situation. I don't like to be a person who's giving you information and giving you readings and not supplying any real, information for how you can actually ascend. So for that reason, I created this manual, especially for those of you who are not able to work one-to-one with me. So I hope that it benefits you. Like sacred bathing has been the foundation on my ascension journey. I thank all of you who made those beautiful comments about my hair. I am on the same trajectory, don't worry. But I bring it up because, well, I'm not blonde anymore. That was a few months ago. Spirit told me to bring out the micro messages that I had recorded a few months ago and start releasing them here on YouTube. So that video was a few months old, so I'm no longer shaved and blonde. But the reason I bring it up is because 2 years ago, I was rocking that hairstyle for 2 years, and Spirit finally said, oh, it's time for new growth. It's time you can grow it out again. Because the reason I shaved my hair off was so I could get very, very serious with my sacred bathing rituals, you know, so I didn't have to worry about the maintenance of hair. So 2 years ago, I shaved it all off because I was bathing on the daily. Because the sacred bathing works to clear the energies that are covering your truth. And so you know, when I get into something, I get into it all the way, and I wanted to be free. So, so I say all of that because sacred bathing has been the foundation for my ability to ascend. It's you know, it can be somewhat underrated, but it's extremely powerful for as long as you stick to it. So with that said, the manual is now available. I will put pricing information and all of that up on the community board. And I thank you guys in advance for your support, but also for all the ways that you are choosing to invest in yourselves. And in doing so, healing yourselves and therefore healing us all, healing the collective. So let's get into some of these downloads. So these downloads started coming in over the weekend for me and Monday, but they've been flowing in through the week too. So of course we had that full flower moon eclipse on Friday last week, and my apologies also. I don't know why I kept on calling it a blood moon eclipse. It really was sticking with me. Maybe I think it had a lot to do with the energies that that eclipse was really dealing with. It feels like that eclipse came and severed and is clearing and removing really, really, really nefarious ties and binds to a lot of the ancestral entities that I was speaking of in the last reading. So in the last reading, I was speaking about how a lot of these people, when they enter these societies and these orders and you know, other things that they use, especially that they use blood oaths to enter into in order to climb in the world, what they do is they actually open up your bloodline to specific ancestral entities that have a vendetta. So they are entities, lower vibration, lower astral entities and energies that have a very specific vendetta with specific bloodlines. And often what my guidance was showing me is that they are connected to Abaddon, which is a spirit, well, bigger than a spirit, but a grand entity, let's put it that way, of destruction. And so it feels like maybe that message was coming up last week, the last time I did a message, because that was the energy that this eclipse has been working on shifting. And severing ties. We are at the end of an age, and so a lot of this stuff is being dealt with. You know, a lot of things are being brought to an end, regardless as to what some people want to do. And when I say some people, I mean some of these, you know, members of these groups and societies. They utilize the power of these ancestral entities to give them what they want, and as such, a lot of you were under attack by these energies and by these people who these entities were utilizing in order to bring you down, whether they knew it or not. And so it feels like there's been a real huge break in their power, in their ability to bind, even in those people who willingly or willfully open themselves up, or unconsciously even open themselves up to be connected or used by those entities for, you know, their own worldly success. It feels like their access or their connection to those energies have also shifted magnanimously or have been broken by this eclipse energy. So what I've been picking up a lot of is, and I'm even feeling it right now, I'm feeling it in my chest, I'm feeling, there's this like there's fear, there's anxiety, there's a lot of confusion, and part of the reason why I also have chosen not to come on here is because I was wading through a lot of that myself and trying to get to the bottom. Like, I was getting the messages, but I was still trying to, as I say, that is 0033 on my clock. I was getting messages and downloads, but I was still trying to get to the bottom of what the energy was about, because it felt like it came in like there was an onslaught of it. And part of it, you know, of course, this is attacking energies. It is. I'm going to get into the things that I've been being shown about the attacking energies of the eclipse, but also this is the sheer chaos that is occurring because so much stuff that has been like buried deep within the earth, within ourselves, in our own souls, within, you know, the history of earth. So much of this stuff is being kicked up. So we have that aspect of the chaos that ensues because of that. But then we also have the people purposely still slinging, you know, energies because they're trying to hold on, trying to keep their grip, with their, you know, their places of false power. And, you know, I'm here in the UK and we all know what occurred this past weekend, and it's no coincidence that it happened, a day after the eclipse. They always kind of schedule their events around big lunar cycles. And it's also, all of this has been gearing up to this moment of coronation. Coronation, their fake one and our real one, kicked off by the events of 2020 and what occurred in March 2020 when the world shut down and the illness, think about the name of that illness, and then coronation. It's been a 3-year preparation time. Yeah, so I'm not going to get into that too much more, but I will say that on Saturday, when I went into the eclipse energies on Friday, I felt so light. I felt so hopeful. On my other channel, I shared a download that I received on May 1st on Beltane from the Willow Tree, a song that the Willow Tree shared with me, and I shared it with the collective on my other channel on Friday. And I sat under another willow tree on Friday during the eclipse, and everywhere I looked, I felt this sense of unity, and I was seeing union energies everywhere. And this is a big topic that we're going to be actually getting into today, because and I posted about this on the community board, but we have entered, this eclipse has opened up a grand union window, and as such, it's interesting because, to go back to how I was experiencing the eclipse energies on Friday, there was this real sense of serenity and calm and peace that I felt not only within, but I felt in the earth. And then come Saturday morning when I woke up, it's not that that peace was gone, it's still very much there. It's just that there was this layer of energy that had entered into the picture, and I was just like, what's the fuckery now? And so they started to show me instantly Saturnian magic, and of course Saturday is the day of Saturn, so it seemed a little bit weird to me that they would have such a major event on a Saturday. I haven't done the research into it, but I feel like they normally do these on I don't know, maybe they do it on Saturdays, but it just felt weird to me that they would do it on a Saturday. But then when I started to think about, you know, the day of Saturn and how they really utilize that energy a lot to fuck with timelines, and to rig the Wheel of Fortune, it made sense. So I woke up and my guides were just like, Saturnian sex magic, Saturnian sex magic. And that was interesting to me because I know a lot about, you know, the fact that they use the Saturnian energy for like I said, for binding us and fucking with our timelines and trapping us in time and all manner of fuckery. Like, I'm aware of that, but the Saturnian sex magic, that was the first time that they had introduced that to me. And so I began to, open myself up to hear more of what my guys were sharing with me. And let me just get into what I have here in the download. So they were showing me that there was a very interesting mix of Venusian and Saturnian magic that was at play in these eclipse energies. And of course, Friday is the day of Venus, right? And Saturday is the day of Saturn, and the eclipse occurred on Friday, and then the event, the fake event, occurred on Saturday. And so then they began to speak to me about my own experience since I began to wake up in 2008, December. I had my first experience, and they started to show me, one of the first things I noticed was how like when magic was being thrown at me back then, I always felt it on a Friday. And I'd forgotten about that until about a year ago, and I started to see that pattern again. And I started to connect, because I knew nothing about planetary magic back in 08 and 09, but fast forward to 2021 and 2022, I was waking up to all of this stuff. So when they began to show me the connection, I was just like, but why Venus? What is it about? Because I didn't know what was going on at the time. I'm like, why are they using like Venus? Well, why Friday? Why the day of Venus? And so the most obvious answer I came up with, of course, was, it's an attack against the divine feminine, right? But then I began to realize, oh no, it's deeper. It's deeper. They love this Venusian and Saturn magic mix thing. Venus deals with material riches. We are in Taurus season presently, and that is also ruled by Venus. Venus rules over Taurus and Libra. So Venus is all about luxury, beauty. It's very connected in our world to image, to stature, to appearance, to the world of art, entertainment, fashion, things that have to do sex, things that have to do with aesthetics. And when I began to recognize how much of this stuff had to do with them binding us to cloak others with our energy, the Venus energy began to make sense why they would use that. They would utilize it for the purpose of also Venus, not for nothing. Especially those of you, I think, in the Northern Hemisphere will see it more right now. It's like the brightest, Venus is the brightest star, right? Brightest, it appears to us from here as like being the brightest star in the sky. And right now, Venus, like if you go out at nighttime, Venus is stunning. I just saw her tonight, stunning, and has been for weeks. And Venus is connected to morning star. Venus is the morning and the evening star. So Venus is connected to who they like to call Lucifer, the fallen one, right? And Lucifer, in my experience, is not the same being as Satan. There's confusion there. And there's a reason for the confusion that I'm not really going to get into tonight. There's a very real reason, but I say all of that because Lucifer in the heavens was said to be a being that was so beautiful, full of beauty, full of talent, full of gifts, divine gifts. And the story goes that Lucifer rebelled and took, I think, 2/3 of the angels with him in his rebellion, right? So the Bible story goes. Again, there's more to that story than what we've been told, but, not really going to go into that right now because that's not what it's about. But a lot of these people who subscribe to like the false worship or the worship of Satan or Lucifer, who in my experience are two different beings. That energy is connected, of course, to Venus. So when you think about some of the societies, systems, institutions that are connected to that energy, and how they use that energy to get what it is they want, and how they get a lot of what they want through the binding of us, it makes sense that the Venusian magic would be something that's used, right? Venusian magic is also tied to sex. It can be tied to sex. Magic is also tied to the, you know, the ability to do glamours, you know, to cause an illusion, to make somebody appear to be something, to steal another's beauty. We've read about it in fairy tales. We've seen it in the movies, and really they were telling us the truth. They have been stealing people's beauty, innocence, virginity, and not virginity as we know it, but in other ways too. They've been stealing those energies in order to cloak themselves. Creativity, ideas, music, fashion, you name it, okay? So it makes sense, 0044 on my clock, it makes sense that given the type of weekend that we were entering into, that these would be the two main energies at play. And I did mention, I think I put it in, I wrote about this in Daily Alchemy like maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and I think I shared this one on the community board. I did say to be very aware of your energy in the month of May, because there's going to be a lot of things wanting to pull in order to fuel their events. So what my guides were showing me specifically is that they were saying to me it was a mix of underworld magic and Venusian and Saturnian magic. So the point of what it was that they were trying to do, and again I say trying, because we already know that the stuff that they're doing in this ascension, it may have worked in the past, but we're dealing with different energies, so it's not going to hold. Okay, so for some of you, if you experience, there was a lot of death energy being thrown, which is it should be no surprise to any of us at this point, given where we are in ascension, but it also shouldn't be much of a surprise when we look at the energies that we're dealing with. We're dealing with scorpionic energy, a full moon eclipse in Scorpio at the beginning of May, which is a high time on the occult calendar. Of course, there's going to be a lot of death magic, that scorpionic energy of sex magic, all of that. But I say all of that because for a lot of you, even if it was thrown at you, you know, it may not have affected you at all, for one thing. And if it did affect you at this point, it might just make you tired. It might make you a little bit confused. It might throw you off kilter for a little while, but it doesn't destroy you. It certainly doesn't destroy you, and it certainly doesn't do what it is designed to do. Okay, so they were showing me that there was some kind of underworld magic and a cap of invisibility. That's what they said, a cap of invisibility. So there's death magic, Venusian and Saturnian magic mixed with sex magic, underworld magic, and the underworld magic, of course, is often to do with some kind of necromancy, dealing with the dead, dealing with the underworld, and using these energies in order to create a cap of invisibility. And so the point of this was to render certain beings, divine beings specifically, render us invisible. To render us invisible again. So it's an invisibility energy that they try to cast upon many divine beings. And the reason for that I'm going to get into shortly, but the purpose of it was to render you invisible to love, invisible to good fortune, invisible to fertility, invisible to abundance, and invisible to your own divine gifts and other gifts that are coming your way, and invisible to expansion. And when I say invisible, I mean the energies that want to come towards you can't come towards you because you're not able to magnetize it, because there's like an invisibility cloak kind of thing. We attract what we are, right? Hence the reason why so many of us have had these issues with attracting really shitty energies into our realities, was because our energy fields were being tampered with. Right? They were being tampered with. And so we kept on, and then the law of attraction came along and told us that, they told us that you attract what you are, without giving any context to the fact that a lot of us have gone through severe trauma in order for our energy fields to be programmed into lower vibrations, so that we did keep on magnifying that into our reality, right? But so the whole point is, so it's almost like they cannot tamper with your energy field anymore. They cannot go into your energy field and program you out of love and back into fear states and shame states. They can't program you into permanent lower vibrational energies, because you're too awake for that. Even when you visit that place, let me bring out my my vibrational scale, So once upon a time, they had you living here, desire at the highest, and fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame. And now you've moved here, and you circle through here. And even if you go down here, it's just to visit these energies to further activate yourself, so you can climb even higher. That's the point. And this is the point of the vibrational scale, is that these energies are here. They have a purpose. They have a point. They're here to recalibrate you, to take you higher. But what they've been doing was programming you to stay stuck, right? So now they can't do that, right? So they can't mess with your internal energetic mechanism. So what are they going to do? Oh, they're going to cast veils. They're going to cast cloaks of invisibility. And don't get it twisted. They were doing all of this stuff before, plus messing with your energy field, but now they don't have the opportunity to do it to your field. So they're working with energies outside of you. So they're working with masking and cloaking and invisibility energies and frequency fences and all of this stuff to mess with the external reality. And this is where the warfare is getting interesting, because it's all a matter of your own discernment and being able to tune in, because you know yourself, being able to tune into and seeing how this is playing out for you. You get what I'm saying? And being able to stabilize yourself in your energy enough to be able to read through all of the confusion that's coming your way right now, because it's external, but it wants to rock your internal reality. And the reason it wants to rock your internal reality is because this grand union gate has opened, and they couldn't stop you really from coming into inner union with self, but now they're trying to stop the external meetings of divine partners and co-creators. They're trying to rock that. And to that extent, they are trying to pull you out of inner union, because that's a lot of the energies that I was picking up. I was picking up on, where is it? Very specific message. Give me 1 second, guys. I just want to go through my notes and see where I wrote it. Why can't I find this? 1 second. I'll find it when I'm not even looking for it now. But it was this energy of separating the masculine and feminine energies within to cause confusion and distortion with how you come together with your divine partner, because a lot of divine unions are happening romantically, especially, as well as, you know, soul tribe friendships, business opportunities. But what they're actually quite afraid of, they're afraid of it all, but they're very afraid of these divine partners that are destined to come together and seed certain energies into the earth plane, that once they do, it's a wrap. You get what I'm saying? So that's really their main focus. And to this extent, this is why I was picking up on a lot of sex magic, because they use the sex magic to try and distort those energies also. Because with the sex magic, I don't want to get too into it. I don't want to go there, but it's using distorted sexual energy to try and create distortions in fields externally, but also to get those external energies to rock you so much that it causes internal imbalances. And what I was seeing was there was this energy of utilizing the power of the eclipse to try and, I wish I could find it, but it was to try and cause not only separation with divine masculine and feminine energies within, but to cause a separation in the brain hemispheres. So any of you who've come into union and you've got that hemisync energy going on, where the two sides of your brain are now interlinked and they're working together, and you're using your brain at a higher capacity than you were before, because everything in the matrix system was designed to separate you, including keeping the two main lobes of your brain separated. And to that extent, this is how they also were able to utilize some of their mind control programs, was through that separation, and constantly and consistently introducing traumatic variables to cause further schism within self and within your brain chemistry, which is all interconnected. This is what this energy was supposed to do. So I also was picking up that they have been using some kind of energy connected to the centaurs. Okay, and when I started to do some research on that, you know, in astrology we recognize one centaur, you know, in regular astrology nowadays, and that of course is your Chiron. And your Chiron is the placement of what they call the wounded healer. It's what you have to overcome in order to like tap into your magic. And I've spoken about this before, about how much of the work that they did, 0055 on my clock, how much of the work that they were doing to us when it came to fucking with our astro charts was to try and increase the pain surrounding our Chiron placements. Okay, so when I was doing some research about the centaur energy, what I was being shown was that it is an energy that, you know, every energy has its shadow and its evolved, or it's unevolved and its evolved state, right? And the centaur energy in its like less evolved or its shadow state is about the introduction of unbridled chaos. And so that to some extent is what they were working with. But for us divinely, the centaur energy, which can also come in as a guide, is there to help us actually come into a deeper sense of balance in the midst of chaos. But especially also, I was reading, it's about the inner union of masculine and feminine energy. So it's very interesting. Like I keep on, you know, I've been saying for a while, their attacks are also our activations, what they use against us to try and pull us off of our thrones, you know, try to take away our crowns, which is really what this was all about. What they try to do is also how the divine works to ascend us and to level us up. So with the Saturnian sex magic, what I was picking up was they were trying to find and get control over our sacral chakra, again, our sacral energies, our love, our fertility, our beauty. In other words, our ability to magnetize all the beauty that we are now ready as a collective to begin birthing. So they're trying to come between our ability to do that again. And many of them are trying because they've lost control over your sacral energies. And for many of them, your sacral energies were a source of fuel. It's what they were, cloaking themselves in, using for their ideas, hacking into that portal specifically to travel interdimensionally, depending on how your sacral energy is, how your sacral energy is, how your sacral energy works, because all of us, we have sacral energy and it is a portal, but it's very connected to your own divine gifts and divine resources. So they hack into different one of us for different reasons, yeah? So it was their attempt to try and get back in. Their attempt to make you think that they'd gotten back in, that's another thing. Because if you can think that they've gotten back in and you fall into that place of owning that thought, owning it, then you begin to manifest it, and that is ultimately what gives them access, right? It's what allows you to fall back into states of fear, and that's where your energy field constricts and they can enter, right? And then detain you. So that's what it was about. It's about blocking now, because many of us now on this part of the journey, because we're coming into union, because we've also come into inner union, and it's about to begin to play out in our external reality, right? What we need for those unions, and what we need now that we are in our north nodes, is about to be released. Our divine resources, our divine abundance. And so there's also the attempt to block that. The attempt to block your access to your money and to your love. So once again, we have these two areas that are under attack, love and money. But this time it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different because you've gotten too close, right? So we have here, glamour magic again, trying to steal energy to glamour themselves, binding of sacral energies, binding of timelines. That's another one, transference of karma. That's another one that they love to use the Saturnian energy for, the transferring of, So a lot of them, because of the things that they have gotten involved in, there's a cause and there's an effect. And because they don't want to deal with the effects of their choices, they've been using a lot of us to transmute that, because we're natural transmuters, to the point where they also will put upon us their sicknesses, their illnesses, and get us to transmute that, their trauma and their woundedness. We see it through like the energy of scapegoatism, especially in dysfunctional families, where they'll put the weight of the wounds of the family that nobody wants to deal with on the scapegoat, and the scapegoat is forced to try to transmute that shit. It's heavier than that. That's like a smaller picture of a bigger energy, where some of them actually also try to transfer their debt, their karmic debt, their any debt that they might have even in real time, their sickness, all of that stuff, the consequences for their poor choices. They don't want to deal with. They just want to deal with the manipulation of energies to get certain things, but they don't want to deal with the universal kickoff that is a result of that. So for many of them, they've been transferring that energy onto you forever. So once again, it's this attempt to transfer their karma so they don't have to deal with it. It's, again, another form of rigging the Wheel of Fortune. And also a lot of love spells. A lot of love spells, a lot of trying to send out confusing energy surrounding love to get people to sabotage. Everything that has been happening this week it's been like a flurry of different energies. And I hope that my sharing all of this isn't causing any confusion, but bringing greater clarity and confirmation, because, you know, I've been in the midst of the storm too, trying to navigate, because there's so many different conflicting energies, because this is how desperate they are. And so, you know, love spells, another big thing, but self-sabotage, that is a lot of attacks against the 6th house, against health, fitness, routine, schedules, the things that you need in order to feel stable in yourself. You know, a lot of attack against the earth energies, which is, you know, we're retrograding through, Mercury's retrograding through Taurus, and it's retrograding through Virgo later in the year, and it retrograded through Capricorn at the beginning of the year, and it's going to retrograde again through Capricorn and Sagittarius at the end of the year. So this year is all about us realigning with divine order here on earth as it already is in the heavens. And so when you think about the, you know, the energy of the eclipse and the full moon, and then utilizing the power of what's happening with Mercury retrograde and what they're doing in terms of trying to cast illusions and create fuckery in our lives, this is what it is. Trying to mess with your finances, that's Taurus energy. You know, trying to mess with your ability to feel stable and at home in yourself and your body. And I was speaking about that like a week and a half ago too. One of your birthrights as a divine being is to feel at peace in your body. Your body is your only real home that stays with you the whole time you're here on this planet. It is your home. You have a divine right to peace. And when these energies come into your fields to fuck with that, you have every right to call karmic justice on that. You have every right to proclaim that. You have every right as a divine being to make your claim, because those energies are out of divine order. Every time they try to come and bring energies of destruction, dysfunction, discord, disharmony to take you off of your position of peace, they are out of order. Out of order. So the whole point of how they were using these eclipse energies was to try to eclipse you out of your own sacral wealth and your divine resources. And your sacral wealth is also very connected to your divine partnership, because the coming together of, you know, masculine and feminine energy, irregardless of gender, when you come into sexual union, if you are one of these people who, you know, is here for that purpose, it's a merging of those energies. And there's something about the merging of those sacral energies that is what is giving birth to what is going to be seeded in the earth, where there will be no going back. So at every turn, there's this like trying to rock you and get you out of alignment with that. What a lot of them succeeded in doing, especially if you stood your ground and you're standing your ground and you're recognizing this fuckery, what a lot of them managed to do was to actually eclipse themselves out of your reality now, out of your sacral, out of access to your sacral energies now for good. A lot of them eclipsed themselves out of your energy fields now for good. So I was being shown different things they were using: blood, semen, female ejaculate, menstrual blood, all of this stuff was game, okay? Another energy that was coming through, and this was really disturbing. Of course, your sacral energy is connected to your third eye, connected to your psychic channels. Your sacral energy is one of your water chakras. Your third eye is one of your water chakras. And this energy, this focus on water has been really interesting to me for a while, because 2 weeks ago when I did this message about them having had some of you in underwater prisons was when all hell broke loose in my reality when I was sharing that message. And then the water stopped in my home like a few minutes after that. And then I had all of this fuckery where it wouldn't let me upload the video. It didn't work for the live, and then it randomly took itself down and went into like a lot of fuckery around that video. But I say all of this because there's something very much tied to this energy of water, a focus on the energy of water. And of course we know that water as an element is what births everything. We birth everything through the element of water. And it's what, it's what separates and connects all worlds and realms. It's water, So, on the one hand, there's that. But on the other hand, and that's why sacred bathing is so fucking powerful. But on the other hand, there's also the fact that so many of them are connected to marine entities. So there's that too, right? But then we also think about our energy systems, and we can think about water signs, and it was a full moon eclipse in Scorpio. And we can think about our energy centers. So we have the sacral chakra, which is connected to Scorpio energy, and it's our earthly water chakra. And when I say our earthly water chakra, our lower chakras are to do with the earth, and our higher are more to do with the heavens. And the heart is the integration of heaven meeting earth, and us projecting that reality out into the world, and therefore having everything come back to us that matches that projection, right? So your earthly water chakra is your sacral chakra. This is where you birth your fortune, right? But then your heavenly water chakra is your third eye. And the third eye and the sacral are very interconnected. Even when you do a lot of work on your sacral chakra, it will increase your psychic insights, your ability to process the messages you're receiving psychically. It's why for women, yoni steaming is so powerful for connecting with your psychic channel. But I say all of that because there was a very disturbing energy that was coming through, and that was this, they were trying to see through someone's eyes. And to that extent, of course, they were utilizing dream state. Dreams are connected to water, therefore they're connected to your sacral energies, and they're connected to your third eye too, They were trying to hack somebody's energy and manipulate them psychically to cause confusion and distortion in how it is you're viewing your downloads, how it is you're processing them, because that's the third eye, right? But it was also like they were not only trying to 1:11 on my clock. They were not only trying to cause confusion and distortion by hacking your fields. They were also trying to hack your fields so then they can begin to see what it is that you're receiving psychically. So this is to do again with a lot of the psychic surveillance, mind control energies. I was feeling that a lot of trying to hack in, especially those for those people who already had been previously under mind control, whether in this incarnation or previous incarnations, and it still gave certain energies and entities access. They were trying to re-access that ability. They were trying to see what is happening for you through your eyes, but through your third eye, if that makes sense, and get the accurate information for themselves so that they can then distort it for you. And this is all to do with taking you off track to union and connecting with divine abundance. To that extent, they were using mirror magic. mirror magic. Mirror magic is very powerful for causing distortions. It also is connected to the element of water. Distortions, projections, illusions, mirror magic. So there was that. And then, of course, the moon amplifies that. The moon can be used to try and cause confusion and distortions and over emotionality in the full moon with no sense of divine logic, because they want you using their matrix logic. They don't want you utilizing your divine logic. For some of you, there was an attempt to try and disarm your protection. I'm just going to spill it all. For some of you, you have balancing and justice coming in, the balancing of karma and the balancing of scales, trying to offset that. There was also some kind of strange fire I was seeing. And the strange fire was very specific, what they were showing me. It was like a strange fire around your access to your own energy centers. And the whole point of that was to try to like form a barrier between you and your divine. Like it again had to do with third eye. So for example, how they were showing me, it's almost like they'd put strange fire around the stellar gateway. And for some, I was seeing this, but this was less to do with the full moon eclipse. And this was more to do with a repetition of something that they've been doing for a really long time. And that is this energy of strange fire connected to the root chakra. And the whole point of the strange fire around the root chakra is to disconnect you from properly connecting to your earth star so that you can properly ground yourself and ground the energies that are coming in from the heavens into the earth, into the new earth grid. It's an interception, but this is something that is deeper than what has happened in Ascension. If some of you have been rolling with me for a while, then maybe you'll remember many, many readings ago, I spoke about how sometimes they put symbols into chakra, like symbols and sigils, which energetically give instructions. I think I used the example of seeing a biohazard symbol in the root chakra, which makes you, think about the biohazard symbol and the energy that it causes when you see it. Like if you're in a hospital and you see the biohazard symbol, you know to stay the fuck away. For many of you, they've been using these energy work. And I was also seeing like certain chains and threads that cannot be easily broken. And when I say they cannot be easily broken, it's just like some of these things, what my guides were showing me, it's like you have to call in holy fire or you have to call in like pure source energy to kind of like break through it, because I don't know whether it's something that has occurred over time or many magicians, a lot of energy, I don't know. But these chains and these threads, I was seeing thread. I was seeing like, I was seeing things that had been sewn up and kept away. I don't know if this makes sense, but it's almost like, if you were to have a pillow and you were to then like sew compartments of the pillow to keep that pillow separate. Compartments within the pillow to keep it separate. That's what it was. And you're not supposed to have separation within self. It was almost like they quilted you. That's what I was seeing. It was like a fucked up, distorted quilt. And it was in the sacral and in the root. And it was it was almost like a magical thread that if you tried to remove it without recognizing, if you saw it, for example, or somebody else saw it, and they're a seer, and they removed it for you, it may have seemed like it had been removed, but that was an illusion. It always would come back. It always would come back. And the only way to actually destroy it is to actually maybe call in holy fire or to connect directly to source energy and have that light and that resonance destroy it entirely, right? And for many of you, the purpose of it was to keep you from merging your sacral energies with another in a way that it would properly be activated. So the whole point of it was, even if you came into divine union and there would still be those like barriers to the energy of the two of you properly being integrated. It's like another form. Again, these frequency fences keep on coming up, right? This week, there's also been this energy to make everything feel overwhelming. And that, again, is the attack against the 6th house. So if you've been feeling this, the point is to make everything feel overwhelming, to cause you to procrastinate, to cause you to waste time, to cause you to isolate when you're supposed to be going out, to cause you to not look after yourself, to cause you to cause confusion, and to rock you out of your peaceful place. It again, very much attack against the 6th house, but also 7th and 8th house. Like attack against the ability for partnerships to come together in real time, 7th house. Attack against the collective value that you've been sent here to either give or to also receive. That's connected to Scorpio energy and your sacral. You know, all of it's time wasting in order to cause sabotage. There was a lot of death energy coming in that was directed. It was heart attack, stroke, and aneurysm energy. I felt it. Heart attack, stroke, aneurysm energy, attack against circulatory system. And the circulatory system is connected to Aries energy, which is connected to your crown, which is connected to coronation, which is connected to how you are able to take your stuff out into the world, receive things. Circulation is about the giving and the receiving and the moving of energy to make it all possible. Yes. Those are all my downloads. And this is partially why there's been so much opposition to me coming here and saying this stuff too, because, and every time they try to stop me, in all frankness, my team just gives me more downloads. Oh, one thing I forgot to add, and this is important too. A lot of Archangel Metatron energy. A lot of Archangel, Metatron is on it. Okay, so a lot of, you know, Archangel Metatron, and the two words that were coming through, victory and action. Okay, Archangel Metatron is also over your stellar gateway, over your connection to the central and the grand central sun and your ability to receive these solar codes. And Archangel Metatron ain't messing around, okay? None of the archangels are messing around, but Metatron came in very strongly. Metatron also is one of the chief record keepers, you know, so that's coming in to say, I see everything. Everything is being recorded now. So my guides told me to cleanse and clear this tarot deck. It's the Afro Goddess Tarot Arcanas by Andrea Furtick. I got this deck as a gift for myself, my birthday back in 2020. And I don't think I've used it on this channel. But for some reason, they specifically asked me to take out this deck, cleanse it, clear it, reconnect with it, and start using it. So let's see why. Okay. The winds of change, the winds of change, the winds of change. And just, I'm checking on my candles. Some of them are like burning quite quite feverishly, but beautifully, not like nothing can stop me kind of energy. The High Priestess. The High Priestess. She sees all, right? And then at the bottom of the deck, we do have 122 on the clock. We have Son of Swords. Son of Swords. This is giving me a few energies. For one thing, this is confirmation that what I'm sharing with you, you know, it's Swords is truth energy, but the Son of Swords is like being able to see things. The Son of Swords is being able to well, it can be spying energy, right? So you peep their game. That's what they just said. You peep their game. Yeah, I peep their game. Okay, so that's the Son of Swords energy. But the Son of Swords energy is also 1, 2, 3 on my clock. To break things up so we can move ahead. Very much like Ace of Swords energy. But the Page of Swords, which is, sorry, the Son of Swords in this deck is a Page of Swords in traditional decks. The Page of Swords energy, the pages and aces are very similar in energy, except aces are all about brand new beginnings, and pages can speak about a new start in a cycle that already has existed. Okay, so this is also showing me that whatever it is that was attempted to close out your new cycle, that fuckery's been cut through. It's been cut through. And it wasn't even that difficult. It wasn't even that difficult. It wasn't even that difficult. Yep, we do have the moon. Oh my gosh, so sorry. No. This is Son of Swords. Son of Swords is a Knight of Swords. It's a Knight of Swords. So this is like the 1, 2, 3 on the clock before. This is all about the moving swiftly forward through all of these illusions, because the Son of Swords is smack in between the high. It still stands for what I said with the Page of Swords. If I picked up on that energy, there's no such thing as a coincidence. But extra message coming through. The Son of Swords is also about soaring through. It's the Knight of Swords energy. So clearing a path, which is what I'm really seeing with this moon card as she's walking through. This is like the Moses parting the Red Sea energy. She's walking through. And actually she's walking through and she's being assisted by the light of the moon. That's another energy that was coming in that I was sharing with those in the Daily Alchemy message on Friday, is that you see a lot of these people who do these kinds of things have been fucking with the energy of the moon for a really long time. In fact, part of the way that the earth became enslaved and imprisoned to begin with was because of the fuckery that they enacted upon the moon and different planets. So, in other words, Gaia, us, we are not the only ones who were enslaved. The moon's energy was used against her too. And so just as we are ending many contracts, many of the planets are ending certain contracts that they had that have to do with the earth in order to enter into a new age. And so for a lot of them, what they don't seem to realize also is that a lot of divine beings have made peace with Luna. They've woken up and they've realized, like some people I know, they have disconnected themselves from the moon, if that's even, I don't think that's even possible, but I've heard a lot of that in spiritual circles, and I'm not in full, I get why, but I'm not in full agreement, because the moon now is under her new earth commitment. She's recovering and recuperating, just like us, her sovereignty, her autonomy. As a celestial being. And as such, the moon is in alignment with ascension. This is what a lot of them don't get, and I've said this before. They don't get that they cannot fuck with divine order anymore, because what they were doing in order to do it before no longer stands. Their spells, their energy work, all of these things, like even when they try and come and do this stuff, it doesn't last. And it's getting weaker. That's why they were saying to me with this with this thing. It was like, it wasn't that hard. That's what I heard. And it wasn't that hard. Came in with the sword to clear out the illusions and to break the spells and all of that shit that they were trying to do, you know, with the moon and the high priestess energy. It wasn't that hard. It's deception, trying to cast illusions and deception based upon some of the, you know, the secret knowledge. And here you go, you know, you have the high priestess and she has her crown here. If you look at her crown, it actually is the Taurus. It's the Hathor energy. It's the Taurus glyph that she has on her head, funnily enough, in this deck. I don't know if you can see very well, but it's a Taurus energy. It's a Taurus glyph. But really what it is also is that she has the moon in between the horns also. It's almost like, for many of us, they tried to use the moon against us, and once upon a time they could, but they can't anymore. The moon is on our side. The moon will not be used against us anymore in that way. And I was channeling this, like I said, in the message, the Daily Alchemy message on Friday. Not only will the moon not be used against us anymore, but it's time for many divine beings to call back all of your stored energy across time, space, reality, and dimensions that they have trapped by way of lunar manipulation. It's time for you to call it back and ask your guides to clear it and cleanse it again for your use. We have the Daughter of Wands at the bottom, which is this is Page energy. The Daughter of Wands is Page of Wands energy. So this is speaking to me of, I've been getting a lot this week with the tarot, a lot of Two of Wands energy coming out. You know, being able to move forward with your plans. And the Daughter of Wands, again, is connected to that Ace of Wands energy. But it's like they try to stop you progressing. They try to stop, and maybe it's caused a little bit of confusion and delay. You know, Thomas the Tank Engine, you've caused confusion and delay. Maybe they've caused a little bit of confusion and delay in your week, or maybe just in your mental body or in your emotions, a little, you know, shaking you a little bit, but it hasn't stopped the blazing trail that has been opened for you to walk forward in, for as long as you don't succumb. You see, and this is the interesting thing about this moon card, is that what is parting her waters? What is parting the waters in this card? And again, we have that water energy. What is parting the waters is her faith, is her seeing this grand light ahead, but it really is her faith. And for as long as she has her eyes on the prize and what she's moving towards, those waters are going to cooperate and stay up so she can have safe passage. The waters only come in and start to drown us when we start to lose faith and when we start to believe the illusions that are cast. I'm looking to see if there are any more messages. You know, it's like, even in the midst of all of these, like, this eclipse magic and, you know, all this other shit, it's like I say, the attacks are activations. So with this High Priestess and Moon card, what I'm really seeing is that those energies that were trying to hack into people's psychic awareness and to try to see things through other people's eyes and trying to distort what it is that how you're processing your downloads and psychic information and all that other stuff. It actually is activating you into a higher level and attunement with your psychic gifts. And this is why I'm telling you also, this is the time to begin calling back everything that they have used their planetary magic, energy, fuckery. It's time to call back all the ways they've trapped you by way of the moon. Call back all your stuff. A lot of your gifts have been bound in that and then cast upon someone else to create the illusion that they have it. Call your shit back from Luna and make peace with her. That's what my, maybe I'll put it 133. Maybe I will put it on 133. Maybe I will put it on the community board, but that's what was really coming through very strongly on the Friday message in the Daily Alchemy members portal, was that it's time for us to make peace with Luna. It's time for us to forgive her. It's time for us as divine beings to forgive her and come back into alignment with who she is as a new earth being, in the same way we've had to do for ourselves, because our story on earth, having been enslaved and bound and all of that stuff, is not very different than what has occurred to Luna. And remember, Luna is very connected to divine feminine energy. So think about it, because it's the divine feminine and the divine mother that has been bound, and they used her to do that too. They used her to do that too. So in many ways, Luna is breaking free, has broken free, as we break free, and we need to come back into a new energy with her. We're not here to cut her out of our reality. That's not even possible, as far as I know. If you disagree, you disagree. You know, we can agree to disagree. But from my guidance that I've been being shown, you know, since last August was when I was shown that those contracts were done. And Luna came to me, and I started to commune more with the moon and the planets, and they started to speak to my soul. A lot of the shit that we've all been subjected to has been based upon fuckery, binding, enslaving, energy work, using, think about it, they used our power against us in order to manifest this chaos on the earth, using the power of our energy to manifest the reality they wanted to create through us by keeping us stuck in timelines and illusion and stuck in lower vibrations. If they did it to us, you know, don't you think they did it to certain planets too, or even all of the planets? Don't you think that in some way, and when you understand and overstand how energy works, and you know that everything is a microcosm within a macrocosm, and when you get that, you see that everything to some extent has experienced everything divine, and celestial beings, planets, they're all divine, have experienced this. What better way to create a false mother system than to enslave the moon herself and the earth, the mother energies? They both were bound. Okay, you want that? Okay. Well, here we go. The Daughter of Swords came out anyway, so yeah. Oh, I just said it before, didn't I? Two of Wands keeps coming out, and I love the Two of Wands in this deck. Forgot how much I adore this deck. This has always been like my the world is your oyster energy. She is a breaking out of an oyster shell, which again is speaking to me of breaking out of those fucking water prisons they had so many of us in. You know, she's breaking out of this shell. And she's rising up. Do you see she's sitting and she's rising up on this pearl that actually is the world. And she's moving forward now. And the world is literally her oyster. So some of you, what this energy has succeeded. And then at the bottom, I'm sorry, I didn't show you. At the bottom of the deck, we do have the Empress. What this energy succeeded in doing for many of you was helping you to actually birth your reality on earth as it already is in the heavens. The Empress energy is connected again to Libra, but also Taurus because it's Venus energy. What this attempt to use their fucked up Venusian magic is actually achieving is your ability, for as long as you're holding your stance, to actually be born again. And when I say be born again, I mean into your divine reality and your divine truth. Because a lot of what we're doing right now is we are calling who we are cosmologically into the heavens. Some of you are famous in the cosmos. You're well known. That's why you're here. You were sent as one of the elite forces to come and save the earth when they kept on pushing back the fucking ascension timelines. Those of you who came into the earth plane in the 80s and beyond, it's because there was supposed to be a grand ascension in the 70s that never took place. That's what all of this shit was with the like the love revolution. In the 60s and the 70s, it was supposed people were waking up and they came in with all of their timeline and they did all manner of things that were not even, legal, but they still had time because it wasn't, we were moving towards the end of the age. But that's when a lot of us began to incarnate into the earth because enough was enough. Enough was enough. So this is when some of the elite forces of ascension started to come in. It was in the 80s. It was in the early 90s. It was again when they tried to fuck with the timelines around the millennium. We started coming in droves. Enough is enough. We're shutting the shit down. We have the Daughter of Swords shutting shit down. With the Knight of Swords and the Daughter of Swords. That's Page of Swords and Knight of Swords. With the Nine of Wands. And what I'm really getting more than anything is again, this is the Nine of Wands is, for me as a reader, I always see the nine. This is connected to Sagittarius energy for one thing. Sagittarius energy is the energy of the Centaur. That was coming up before. The Nine of Wands energy is all about those of you who've been sent here to break the fucking curses. You're here as generational curse breakers, but you're here on a divine job that a lot of you, only you could do alone. And now it's time for you, you've done your job. It's time for you to move forward with this Ace of Wands and swiftly with the Eight of Wands in the background. And oftentimes when I see this card, I always think of it as the Four of Wands in the back and the Four of Wands in the back here. So two sets of Four of Wands. So for some of you, this is about how you've even alchemized two bloodlines. Maybe through marriage or former marriages, or maybe through the coming together with your divine partner. And now it's time to move the fuck forward with your Ace of Wands, your new lease on life, which then, leads to the Two of Wands. And the Daughter of Swords is also speaking to me about diligence in doing this. The Daughter of Swords energy, it cuts through illusion. It's why it's so connected to spying and research. It delves into detail scrupulously in order to break free. And then we have the Empress. We have the Empress at the bottom. I don't want to put these away. I want to go into the Dragon deck because there's a lot of energy around that right now too, as we reclaim, we reclaim the true ley lines back. think this might be the last deck I go into tonight. Black Dragon from Saturn. I think the last time I did a collective reading with this deck, the Black Dragon from Saturn came out. This is all about, it brings you wisdom through spiritual discipline. Concentrate, focus on your ultimate vision, congratulate yourself, you have passed the test. So this again is speaking to me because when I think of the color black, for one thing, I think a lot about root chakra. The root chakra, even when you're dealing with minerals or crystals, the dark stones, the black stones, are very much connected with the root chakra. They're very grounding, protective crystals. And there's something here that was bound over time by Saturnian magic that has been broken. This eclipse energy busted apart. And for many of you, it's even that, you know, what I'm picking up right now, like when I was saying before, that those energies of the threads and the chains, the magical chains that they had, some of you, like you're in your energy system, like bound by. It's something like the eclipse. It's like you don't even have to use holy fire or connect to source, because it's almost like 144 on my clock. It's almost like it's been broken. It's been severed. There's something about the Saturn energy that has already dealt with that. So remember, like I was just saying to you guys about this energy of the moon and the planets, and a lot of them having their energy fucked with to be used against us because we were ignorant to who we were on the earth plane. As we rise into our divine order and our divine truth, we don't just do it for ourselves. We do it for the natural world. We do it for the celestial bodies that have been roped into this shit. We do it for the planets. And there's something about this energy of like, as a lot of this stuff has been eclipsed out of our reality, as we ascend, as we come into divine order, a lot of this stuff that was binding us before automatically is falling off. The chains are falling, you know, automatically it's happening. And the only way you can stay chained to these energies, in all frankness, there's a few ways. One, you haven't done the work of healing, clearing energies, and reconnecting with your truth. That would be the main way. And second of all, even if you've done that, falling prey to the illusions and believing them over your own divine guidance and intuition. Those are really the only ways you can fall prey back into you know, being bound, because for all intents and purposes, we're all free. It's just like, are we going to connect with that energy of freedom by doing the work of connecting really with self again, and then walking in the integrity of our truth, you know, or are we going to continue to, you know, move in energies of doubt and self-betrayal and all of that? And this is really where they're trying to get people right now. This is it. The self-betrayal and the doubt. It's a big one. And this is why the confusion energy, this is why everything is external right now. And I don't mean it's external in the sense that it's not happening internally. It's affecting your internal reality. But I'm saying for the most part, unless you're in a state where you are still giving access to external energies to fuck with you internally, they don't actually have that power to do it anymore. I hope that makes sense. In other words, for as long as you commit to clearing out these external commands and breaking these contracts and binds that you have due to your own thoughts and emotions, and you connect to your truth and you honor that truth, you're free. But the difficult part right now is the honoring of that truth, because at every turn, there are energies that want to cause you to sabotage, energies that want to block your path by connecting to places within that maybe you haven't dealt with. you know? And there are entities that they're utilizing for this too. I posted on the community board a video that I did back in December about entity proofing divine unions. I'm going to post it again below. It's an important thing to know because the areas of attack that are going to, the warfare is moving from mano a man, like one-on-one, you versus these energies, to you and your divine partners versus these energies. And now you must learn a new way to fight with another person. And when I say fight with another person, I mean at every turn, especially if you're already in divine partnership, but even in the coming together, there are going to be energies and entities that want to cause illusions and confusion between the two of you. And this is where you must know who you are divinely, and you must know who they are divinely, and you must hold them up in that divine esteem, so that when an entity comes to try to connect to you in order to attack them by way of your wounding, you're able to call it out and tell it to fuck off. You're not attaching to that part of myself. I see that part of myself. I recognize that part of myself. I'm working on that part of myself, but you will not come and use my own woundedness to get a foothold in my reality so I can then be used against another divine being. That's how entities work. So the warfare now is shifting, and it's really important that you know thyself. Because when you know thyself and these energies and entities rise and come to cause discord between you and your divine partner, you just know. I've walked away from friendships on this journey because my divine guidance has said, I've seen an energy come in between the two of us. And my guides have said, let it play out. You're not here to control the outcome of the other person. And I've seen when that entity has taken hold of that person and they're no longer on my side. I've seen it happen many times. It's because I've seen it happen that now I can recognize it when it occurs, but I can also recognize it within myself, because you better believe if it's happening to them, it's also happening for you. This is high level warfare now. This is why many of us weren't allowed to just come into union at the point that we were at on our journey, because we would have destroyed one another. That's how powerful we are. We are powerful to create, we are powerful to fight, and we're powerful to destroy. And we're powerful to destroy when we are in our woundedness. I often say to people, there's nothing more destructive or powerful in its destruction than a wounded starseed or a wounded divine being. And that's a whole other story. We ain't going to get into that right now. Blue Dragon from the Pleiades prepares you to accept source healing, accept a heart activation, give and receive heart healing. So yeah, a lot of us right now, this is exactly what it is, what we're being offered through this. Deep heart activations in order to prepare us to connect with another heart in a divine way. I'm going to leave it there because we're an hour and 28 minutes in and I don't want to go too much further. But I hope that the messages I've given tonight, I hope that they're cohesive for one thing, because there's a lot of energy and a lot of downloads coming through. I hope that they're assisting you on your path. And another thing I'm going to open up, because I've been divinely guided to do so, I'm going to start doing love readings, but not regular love readings. I got into tarot originally, my first channel. I was doing love readings because I am a divine counterpart. But with love readings, the reason I have beef with them and I moved away from them is because a lot of the time people want to hear about how somebody loves them and all this other stuff, but they don't. It can be a way to bypass the work. But the readings that Spirit has asked me to do specifically are readings on love and money, to look specifically at the blockages within self that are trying to get into the way of you coming into union or in connection with your divine abundance. I will be doing readings. Probably I'll start sometime next week. Please pay attention to the community board. When it does occur, I'll let you know. Most of the time when I do readings, it's either by video, I will record it and I will send you a link, or it will be by audio, depending on what is, you know, if you have a preference. But more importantly for me at this point, because I'm a mama, a single mama, an unschooling mama. So it will really depend on also my schedule and what's convenient for me. So it will either be an audio or a video message. And yeah, because it's time. It's time for us to come together. It's time for us to see New Earth relationship dynamics. And more importantly, it's time for us to come into union and stay in union. And you know, we hear a lot, you can tell I'm really passionate about this, but we hear a lot of, you know, these readings about coming into union, but nobody tells you what you have to do after. Nobody deals with all of the shit that we have to deal with within ourselves and with one another. And it's a lot, guys. Like, if you think that ascension was difficult alone, you know, it's a different, and it's not to say that it's not beautiful, but there are different things that are going to come up on the road to like coming into union now, and once you get into that place. So let's work through it together. Let's deal with this warfare by being very self-aware of the energies that it wants to feed on, because that's really what it is. It's trying to attach to energies within in order to make its reality manifest again. Okay, so that's what I have for you. If you would like to work with me one-to-one in mentoring, or also tarot astrology reports and my smaller services, you can feel free to check out my website, So-La-Rah with an h.info. It will be listed in the description box below. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, do the YouTube thing. If you'd like to donate to the channel, my PayPal information is below, as well as my wish list if you'd prefer to donate a deck. If you would like to join the Daily Alchemy members portal, you can find out more information about that on my website too. If you would like to order the Spiritual Bathing Manual, Part 1, all about cleansing and clearing, then please make sure from tomorrow, which is Friday, May the 12th, which is when it will become available, please shoot me an email. I will also put the information about pricing and everything on the community board. What else? The audiobook will be available in a few days, and when that is ready, I will put that on the community board too. If you are wanting to purchase both, then I suggest that you just wait, because I will do a bundle for the two. Yes, I think that's it. I'm going to love you and leave you guys. Thank you for sticking it out with me if you've come this far, if you're still here. Yeah, until next time, be well.